Hi there, Tim Bauer here from LiveVideoGuitarLessons.com with the practice tip of the day. This one is for the intermediate player. Today I want to cover how to determine what key something is in, so you can figure out what key it's in to improvise leads with. Alright, so there are a couple of them we need to cover, and none of these are foolproof. The key is often the very first chord you hear in a song. It's not always, but you know, quite often. So what you want to do, you want to just turn on whatever you're trying to figure out, and let's say that you think it's that first chord. It's going to come up over and over and over again. And one trick is to just take the make sure you're in really good tune, and just look for the key note on the E string. So turn the music on, and when you hear the chord that you think is the key chord, kind of walk up through the frets of your E string and do it. Don't ponder the, don't stop on a fret and ponder it for 30 seconds, because it'll just mess you up. If you stay on each fret for maybe a little bit less than a second each, it'll sound like tuning to you, and you can kind of hear that you're coming up on the right note. So say there's some music going on, don't forget your open E. A lot of songs are in the key of E anyway. Alright, so don't forget, just start there, and once you've gone 12 frets, you're at E again. So if you didn't find it in the 12 frets here, you missed it, or they're out of tune. Sometimes bands are out of tune, and and by the way, you don't have to find the right octave. Some songs are in drop D, and the note you're looking for is actually down here, and you can't get that unless you're in drop D. But you don't have to retune. Let me tune back up here real quick. You'll hear the D an octave higher when you hit it. So anyway, it looks something like this. Turn on some music, listen for that chord, and when you hear the chord, and the chord's not going to stay around forever, so just kind of stop if they change chords, because then you'll end up finding the wrong. You'll find the root note for the wrong chord. And by the way, you're listening. You don't have to listen to the guitar. As a matter of fact, if you listen to the bass guitar, it's a lot easier. Just listen for the lowest thing you hear, and then your chord comes back up. Just kind of look for it. So, all right. So that's one way. The key is often the places to look for the key. It's often the first chord. If it's not there, sometimes the intro of a song is working around the key, and then it will resolve to the key at the verse or at the chorus. So it's very often, I guess, the next most common place is the first chord of the chorus. You can also look for it as the very last chord in the song, the one the song ends on. That would be your key, most likely. Sometimes in a phrase, it's the last chord in the phrase. It's rarely in the middle. I've seen it that way before, or at least it seems that way occasionally. But it might be the chords leading to that key chord. So you might get a key like this. That would be in the key of G most likely, because we're heading to that. And the chords that I just played, they belong in the key of G and not in the key of D, which was where I started. Alright, so that's where you want to look for it. And it takes practice. You have to kind of work on it a little bit. And the reason you need to be able to do this is so you can improvise in the correct key. And sometimes you can look up keys online. Sometimes they're wrong. Often they're wrong. You'll have somebody they've figured out how to play a song or something, they'll upload the video, and they're playing in a key that's comfortable for them to sing in, or comfortable for them to play, and it's not necessarily the key that was recorded, that the artist recorded it. Even the same artist, like songs that are sung really high, if you catch a live recording of something, sometimes it's in a different key other than the studio recording, because the studio setting is perfect for the singer, and that's his best day, he can hit that note on his best day. But you catch him toward the end of a tour or something when his throat's all, wrung out from singing every night. Sometimes they'll change the key, they'll drop it down a little bit so he can hit it. And as singers age, they often do that. And when you're 25, you can hit, you're going to have a good range. When you're 65, you're probably not going to be able to hit those high notes anymore. Maybe so. It kind of depends. So kind of keep an eye on that as well. Alright, so once you determine the root note, let's just say we were going to be in the key of A flat. Play your full E form major chord, and make sure you can hear that major note. The major note in E form is on the 3rd string, so kind of play that against the music. Pay particular attention to that, and compare it to the minor note, which would be like this. because you have to know whether the key is a major or minor key. And then even after you do all that, sometimes you still get it wrong. But you know, you can check what you've done. Like say you think it's in the key of A flat major, turn the music on and play your Ionian modal scale, because that's for the key that you think it is. So we're in A flat. Just play it kind of slow and make sure all the notes sound correct. If they all sound correct, you probably found the right key. So you know, kind of just run through it. You don't have to blaze through it. We're not playing leads here. We just want to, you know, play the whole thing and make sure all the notes work. And if they work, you're probably in the right key. One last thing to be aware of. I don't know if I did this when I was learning how to do this. I may have, but I've seen most people tend to do this. They'll walk up and, like, say we're looking for the key of, say we know we're in, we don't know, but say our key ends up being C sharp. They'll walk up and you kind of see the look on it, and they'll stop. They'll stop on that C. They'll stop a half step too low. And I don't know why. The brain seems to tell everybody that that's right. So, and just know that I can't explain why people do that, but a lot of people do. Just know that that's a tendency for a lot of people. And just go ahead and check the next one up, and you'll probably find that's the right one. And as you get better at this, you won't have that problem. But in the beginning, I see that happen to people a lot. So, anyway, so keep that in mind. And the idea is, you know, just so we want to work on our improvisation skills, and you want to make sure you're in the right key. By the way, quick history, not every band is in tune all the time. If you catch recordings, tuners, you know, in the 70s, you couldn't go down to the store and buy a $10 tuner. You could buy a tuner, but it was a big rack mount thing, and it was about, as I recall, maybe $200 or $300. It was expensive, so nobody had them. I mean, the studios had them, obviously, but you know, I don't know when the tuner was invented, but certainly, you know, if you get a song that was recorded in 1940, I'm pretty sure they didn't have tuners back then. So all the musicians just tuned together. So you're going to have trouble finding the keys to those. You have to kind of find out what's close and try to figure out where they're tuned, and then, you know, tune up or down to match whatever they're doing. Also, if there's a live piano, a real piano in a song, it takes forever to tune a piano. I mean, you know, I think it takes about I don't know how to do it, but I know roughly how to do it. But you have to call a professional piano tuner, and it takes, I think, about 4 hours to tune one. So studios, you know, a lot of them have pianos in there, and they don't retune the piano every time they do a recording session. So if the piano, it might be a little out of tune, it might be a little flat, it might be a little sharp, depending on the temperature, or, you know. If that's the case, if you hear a live piano in there, the musician's most likely tuned to the piano. And so if the piano's in tune, they're fine. But, you know, if they're a little flat, you know, if the piano's a little flat, they're all going to be a little flat. So, because it just takes too long to tune them. So, anyway, so I just wanted to offer that up real quick. Thanks for tuning in for this practice tip. Tune in again tomorrow for another one, and I will see you next time. Thanks. Bye.